Well, I became a Waldorf teacher because I loved teaching, and I started out teaching adults. So I was teaching at a university, many different adult subjects. I had been in close to maybe 200 schools in the area where I was living as an artist in residence. And they were every kind of school, private, parochial, inner city, rural, on and on. And at that point, I was thinking, when I have children one day, because I wanted to be a mother, where would I want to send my own children? And I was kind of finding it hard to make a decision on that. I didn't really want to homeschool. I didn't think that would be the answer for us. But I hadn't found the place that would give them everything I wanted them to receive. I got a chance to come into a Waldorf school from a friend. And when I walked in, I just had that experience of, wow, this is really different. And it piqued my curiosity to such a degree that I started studying about it and learning about it. And I said, this is the place for lots of reasons. As my children started going through school, I loved it so much, this adventure they were having with education. It was different than just, I go to school, right? This unfolding of education was happening to the degree of their age, matching their age in their own development and progressing upward, that I was so amazed by how these teachers were working this magic and how the curriculum was being brought at just the right time. Instead of a little bit of everything every year, they were bringing what they could actually do and what they could absorb and letting it grow within them till their maturity actually matched what they were learning. And then they could receive the next little bit. So it was kind of a, step by step, really building on the blocks of education that had come before. And so the whole world was sort of opening up to them in a way that they could actually digest it. They didn't come home, worried about something they had learned at school or having anxiety about school, being tested and having to prove themselves every day. But it was just this magical unfolding where they actually had time to think about what they were learning, the time to wonder and ponder, and then learn it in every way. So they were learning through the body, so they could dance things, they could play a musical instrument, they would draw it, they would learn it in all these different ways. Some children are blessed to be able to have this memory, and they can remember things and regurgitate it, and it's easy for them in some ways, right? And for some reason, our culture kind of holds that up as the standard of education. But there are other children who learn in other ways. Maybe they're kinetic learners or visual or auditory. And that's why we want to present a curriculum that's going to touch on all of those facets. And the student will learn in a holistic way. By the time they go from first grade to 8th grade, they're going to have traveled the globe. And to the degree that a teacher can present as many cultures as they can and peoples of the world, bring people in who can speak authentically from these places and use what you have around you. But ideally, by the end, they've experienced all of these cultures and people and touched on the histories as we lay the foundation for this greater building, really, of learning that's going to happen in high school and then even into college. And what I've discovered as a teacher and as a parent that I didn't realize until I was actually in the classroom doing this and seeing my children come home is that they love these people and these cultures. They love the world. And because they love people, it preserves the hope. I just love that about Waldorf education, is that the children can grow to love, and that it's presented in a way of how are we alike first? What makes us, how do we connect? And then what are our differences? And aren't those beautiful? It's a beautiful gift that goes out into the world. And I see these children, I've taught a few classes now, and I'm still connected with them. And I've had a class, they've graduated from college, and they're like leaven out in the world. When we see the world and all the things that are going on in the world, it just seems like we need to listen to each other. There's so many people who feel they're not being heard. I would say the conversations sometimes are the richest things in the Waldorf classroom. Maybe we start at a young age with circle work, talking sticks, learning how to not respond immediately, but to listen and pause and hear what another person is actually saying before we make a judgment. I think Waldorf education lays that foundation for learning how to be in a community. It really lays the foundation for democracy in a lot of ways, because it's okay to have your own opinion, and it's okay to have your own thoughts, and we can find a way to work together in a really healthful way to come to a conclusion that where everyone's voice can be heard, everyone can be represented, and no damage is done. It doesn't have to end in a fight or an argument. And I think that's a great gift that we can give the world, is just learning how to do that, learning how to be with each other, and to value the other. And actually, it was experiencing the education through my children that made me decide I want to change, and I want to create that magic. I want to learn how to create that magic. And so I changed my profession and went back and became a Waldorf teacher. When I first started teaching, I didn't realize how much I would love these students, and I thought, oh, it's going to be fun to teach all of these subjects each year, and of course teaching the children. But the subjects start to fade away in comparison to teaching these children every year. The love of teaching these children every year just grew and grew and grew. And I was quite surprised at how important their life journey, became to me. Sometimes there were deaths in the family, pets, grandparents, divorces, having to move, hardships that came along. When you have a group of children, they're going to experience life. And I got to be there with them, and I realized the effect a teacher can really have on a group of students as a mentor and another adult, and sometimes being an adult who is the constant in their life, and that they could have that gift of having someone there with them. And I just felt, so privileged that I could even do that and be there for them.